You're listening to Radio Channel Islands. Jersey, Guernsey. Well, we have a great show this morning. We'll kick off here with a friend that I don't think some of us have heard for a while, even though she had a big hit this last year with the theme song to Golden Eye.
I love that song, Terry. I love that song. It was like a classic Bond song that, Dame Shirley Bassey did. I loved it so much. Me and my husband, we saw that movie probably 4 times, and every time we loved the Tina part.
Well, I have to say, Tina wasn't in the movie. I do believe she was at one of the London premieres, but she wasn't in the movie. It was just was it at the credits that she sings, or maybe just at the end? But yeah, she wasn't in the movie.
I thought she was in the movie. I swear I saw her in the movie. Maybe flying a helicopter, but she's a quintessential Bond girl.
Enough. Oh, okay. Back to our friend Tina, though, who's on the show today. What a fabulous looker. What a fabulous gal. I think she's amazing. I go way back to college days down under, and also we pelled around all over, every continent practically. Her manager, Roger Davies, good chap of mine, loved to play both rugby and all kinds of sports like cricket with him in the day. We did a fair number of naughty boy things, eh, Roger? Anyway, she, some people don't know this, but as he's moved her money around various tax shelters and shell corporations in the Channel Islands, I've had the opportunity to actually, me and my wife have welcomed her in our home here in Guernsey. And she's just a delight, and so we kind of got lucky and got an early Christmas gift. So happy Christmas 1996, courtesy of my old friend Raj. So thank you for the opportunity to talk to our friend Tina Turner, and she will be right on in a moment.
Golden eye, my lace or leather. Golden eye, he'll do what I please.
Oh, dear. Oh, don't tell me Harold has to put up with that, Sharon. Is that what you two do to get it on? Oh, and we're back. We're back with a pre-holiday interview with our friend Tina Turner. And actually, right before we had the opportunity to speak with her over the phone, sadly she's calling in from the continent, we actually just were chatting, and she was just so laid back. She is such a class act. She is so humble. She's so casual, that it's just interesting. So I wanted to ask her a little bit about kind of that transition, because you'll see even when she comes on the show, she's just so much more polished, and she's on, as they say, quote unquote, on. So I talk a little bit about the two personas.
A friend of mine said, en route to the stage, you become a totally different person. I don't know what that difference is, except that I'm about to perform. I'm psychologically thinking about the heat, the work that's to be given, and the people out there. So if there's a personality that goes, if there's actually a personality change that go with that, I'm not actually aware of it, because it's me that's going through that psychologically. My stage performance is I give the people what I think they want. I think I'm known for they want to see my legs, the big hairstyle, the red lips, and all of how I make myself famous. That's there, and I care about my image and what they want. So a lot of that is how it is when off stage. I don't want that attention. I wear dresses very seldom off stage. I wear tight clothes very seldom off stage. As a matter of fact, I wear men clothes a lot, shoes.
Men clothes.
So there's quite a difference in
men clothes. Well, fabulous. I think you're fabulous. I think you'd be fabulous in men's clothing. Well, I know you've been taking a bit of a break, a hiatus from your career. I saw you, I think it was in 91. I saw you several times, my wife Pam and I know Sharon Sharon and Harold have seen you many times, and I've seen you in Wembley. I've seen you in Roger's backyard. That's another story. But tell us a little bit about that break you took.
I wanted that time. I wanted that space. I have been wanting to have a good 5 years off, which I almost managed to make this time, for a long time, to really see would I really want to go back, or have a real desire. Because, I've been working all my life, and just year after year, album after album, tour after tour. It was very nice. The rest was, I enjoyed being the person that I am rather than being the second performing person that I am. And the time was good for me. I had a really very good rest. And I'm a bit excited now to go back because I have a good album. I have some songs that I'm interested in performing. And I'm happy to see my musicians because they've been running around playing with a lot of other people. But most of all, I've got to say that a few times standing there saying hi to the people, that's going to be kind of nice, because I really believe when they say, "Hi, Tina," it's kind of something personal about it,
Oh, Tina, I want to say hi, Tina. Hi, Tina.
Okay,
It's Sharon. I'm the radio sidekick to our wonderful Terry, but I just want to say hi, Tina.
Okay, well, you almost interrupted our interview, but anyway, Tina, sorry for Sharon. She's just overcome with excitement to be meeting you, albeit over the phone. But anyway, tell us a little bit about preparing for this new album. I know you're working on it. It's out this spring. It sounds like you're just in the final kind of polishing up stages of getting it ready for release. Tell us a little bit about what songs you're going to bring to us this spring.
I was ready for them. I had played them around the house and moving. What happens when you move? You never finally get everything right. But that album, of course, and I said once earlier today, and Sting's album, the demos of my album is what I basically decorated my house to or put it in order with. And I was singing those songs, and they were getting me going. I was feeling like, ooh, this is going to be a great one to perform. And it was all in my head, So by the time I got to the studio, Trevor was shocked, He was thinking, my God, she sung. I don't have anything for her to do now. She's finished with the song already. Yeah, I was well prepared. I was ready because I liked them. I liked the songs I was singing.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. It sounds like you're raring to go, chomping at the bit, as it were. And we just can't wait to hear some of these songs. I heard one person that you've collaborated with is an old favorite of mine and an old American drinking buddy from Long Island, Taylor Dane. I hear she contributed a little something to your new project. Want to tell me a little bit about what my friend Taylor has been up to?
We'd heard it before, and we thought it was not the right song for the right time. Well, actually, we found it because it was the arrangement, and it needed updating, so to speak. And I will tell Taylor when I see her, actually, because we know each other, and I always call it voice aerobics. A lot of singers in America now, they really, really push their voices to show what they can do with it, and I think she was doing a lot of that, which I didn't like. And so when I decided that we would we decided that we would take that one, I didn't listen to Taylor anymore. I just started to sing it how I would sing it, just to really sing it because it was a good song. And then I referred back and I took a few things that she did.
Well, you certainly know how to make a song your own. You're a gifted song stylist. I think everyone in the industry has always acknowledged that, from Proud Mary to so many songs you put your stamp on. And now a new song that you're tackling and putting your stamp on is my friend John Waite's hit from the 80s, Missing You, which, honestly, that's not an easy song to tackle. But you cover it here, and I've heard a snippet of it that Rod shared with me, and it's quite amazing.
I heard recently, and I like the expression, I don't know who it was from, they call it the mother of the song, the giver. The life of the song shouldn't be taken away. It should not be taken away. One should not veer very far from the original song somehow. I think the change should only be the vocals, especially in this song, because I felt the pain. I feel that when John wrote this song, and I just felt it needs to be sung loud. You know what I mean? I'm sure there are other terms that could make it sound nicer, but I just felt it should be yelled out and just sung with the pain that he had, because I think he sung it in thought. I think he was thinking of what was happening at the time. I understood that he wrote it line by whatever as he was recording it. And so in thought is one thing, and then with the reality, It was a reality, obviously, because it was what happened in his life. But I'm also hoping that this song would do something for him because he's such a great singer. It's a shame we don't have more work from him. But the song, aside from that, the song itself is a very special song. I think if anyone with heartbreak, and there are a lot of people out there with pain one way or another, will take on to this song and the way that I'm singing it, because I only sung it from the feeling of the song itself and just how he did it, but just in my voice and in my feelings for what I felt that was portrayed in the lyrics.
Yes, so true. You know, one thing I haven't heard this one, but I heard it's a very special song, was a song that you've done with one of your longtime guitarists, James Ralston, who's been with you for years. I've seen him up on stage with you, and I know he's just a fabulous musician. But also, he paired up with one of your friends, Tony Joe White, who worked with you on some of your biggest hits from the Foreign Affair album. I heard that they have a new song on your album called Silent Wings. Anything you want to tell us about their collaboration?
I must make a few corrections here. Actually, Tony will always write for me because, you know, he's a very good writer and we're very close. But I believe the true writer was my musician. It was a collaboration between James Ralston, my longtime guitar player, and Tony, because this was a story of my guitar player's life. He had some problems in his relationship, and it was a very touching time for him. And actually why I'm clarifying is because I'm really very happy that out of all these years that he's worked with me, finally he's educated himself to being able to have a song on an album of mine. Hopefully in future more, but we're all celebrating that as well. Tony helped him a lot because Tony is more experienced with writing and doing demos. And he went down to Nashville and actually lived in Tony's house, and they worked together. So I'm sure that there was a great deal of influence there. And the song itself always reminded me, and I would say also, I think I can speak for Roger, that it reminded me of the Sting song, because at the time I was, let's just say, a song that Sting could really deliver. The Fields of Gold at that moment was in my head. I played it every minute, every second, and it's just such a wonderful album. And I thought it would be nice if I hadn't taken the song to give it to Sting, because it's, and actually Sting did say that he wished he had it. It's a wonderful song. Yeah, and so as we were talking about it, and I gave this album to, Roger gave it to Trevor when we were trying to talk Trevor into doing this, because the demo was quite rough. And then he got the message. He felt it's a kind of a Sting song, you know. So he said we should get Sting to actually sing. Well, we were just throwing out. I said, well, why not? And then we just asked to see if, you know, Sting would be interested. And when I heard that, he said, oh, sure, I'll be right over. Where are you? And he came that same night. And
must be nice to have those kinds of friends on your speed dial. Sting hasn't returned one of my calls since 1988. And still, I think he owes me some money. But anyway, one interesting person who's also apparently on your speed dial are Neil Tennant and the Pet Shop Boys. I don't know the name of the other one. Don't quite care. But they obviously were excited to work with you.
Yeah, I love that music. I like it. I wanted one of those up-tempo European tracks. I mean, it's just a lot of energy in it, and the sound. I like the style. And of course, I was jealous because they had produced Dusty Springfield and Liza Minnelli, and we were all at a movie premiere once, and I said to them, fellas, when are you going to write a song for me? And I found out later that they felt that they didn't think that my voice could work with their tracks some kind of way, and they were, you know, hesitant about it. So then, of course, I asked them for a song at that premiere, and so then it came via a friend of ours, Harriet Brand, and then to Roger, and we got it. And it didn't actually work with the movie soundtrack for Itina, but we had it. And what was magic about it is I found the tape. We kept it. And in my moving, I found the tape, and I thought, maybe it'll work this time. Roger did the same. And we both decided to try it again. And so, well, we did. And I think Neil was surprised. He was in the studio as we were recording. And I started to sing, and I saw him. As a matter of fact, he sort of went, yeah, you know. So, actually, Neil and Chris Porter. Actually, that's the first time I met Chris, and I was very surprised because he did the Al Green song. And they had great feelings in the working of it, and sitting there working with Neil being there. It was good. It wasn't difficult. And he was, again, I'd have to say, strict about certain lines being sung certain ways. And I think he was pleased with the outcome of it.
Oh my, I say, that Neil Tennant, I've heard some fussy things about that little poof, but just the idea that Tina Turner would bulge something in the studio, it just makes me irate to think of him telling Tina Turner, a legend in his midst, how to sing one of his little girly songs, you know. Now let's talk about some real good blokes after that awful Neil Tennant Pet Shop Boys and the other one that I can't ever think of. But anyway, let's talk about some real good Irish blokes that actually are here, live near you in the south of France, who've actually become quite chummy with you. Tell me about Bono, the Edge, and the U2 Boys.
Well, actually, I had asked the guys to write a song for me at a gathering of theirs in the south of France. We live very close to each other, and they had a housewarming. They had just moved in, and I went down and I asked them for a song, which I knew I would get, but I didn't think it would come about as soon as it did. And when the song, of course, came through management, and Roger came and said that they want me to sing this song. Well, I thought, this is a chain reaction here. If the song happens to be a hit, the record company is going to come to Roger for me to get on with another album, and then that's going to be a promotional tour, and from that, the promoter's going to start. It's going to look like a tour coming up, and I wasn't yet ready because it was the summertime in Switzerland and France, and it was no time for going into hotels again. So I tried my best to squeeze out of it. I said, okay, if the song is fine, I'll do it. And then the song started to come in. I didn't like a single one for the movie. It was just didn't feel right. And then I think Roger contacted the studios and said, Edge and Bono, they are very hip, blah, blah, blah. And then when the contact was made, obviously either through Roger or through the Bond people, Bono had a fit. I think he sat down and wrote it right then and sent it to me because he says, no one can write this Bond theme because I was at Ian Fleming's place for my honeymoon and I must write the song. He sent me the roughest lyrics, scratched out, and he said, Dear Tina, it's really very rough. We're in the process of recording our own album, but we will work it through in this recording studio. And so I listened to it and I thought, oh my God. And I believed in them because I had met them and I like their work and I know they know what they're doing. So I thought, all right, I'm going to go for this one because I believe it'll come out positive. And we actually got it right in the studio. They were there, the two of them. Bono was pacing around, giving me lines in the control room, and yeah, we did it right there. But it was the song, and it was super.
So speaking of being in the studio with Bono and the Edge, doing the Goldeneye song, that was actually produced by Nellie Hooper, I believe, who's long been involved with Massive Attack, and there's actually a Massive Attack song that you take a crack at, a massive attack on Unfinished Sympathy. And I just thought your take on that song is just going to be brilliant. Haven't heard it yet, but I think it's going to be brilliant. Can you tell me a little bit about your thoughts on covering Massive Attack? Because I heard from a little bird that maybe you didn't care for the song that much.
That's typical of me. I didn't like What's Love Got to Do with It too, did I? No, as I've said more than once, the good part about Roger Davies is that he has a commercial ear, and I don't. And I never particularly listened to that song that much. And I just recently, before Roger brought it on, I saw the video, and I thought, gosh, that's that song. The girl was just clonking along singing, and I couldn't get anything from the video either. So I thought, this one is going to be a hard one. But one thing I can do, and I guess that was one of the things that I took from the past, is I can sing songs that I don't particularly care about just to see if they'll happen. And that's what I did. And Roger said, no, but I just think this song is I think it can work. And I thought, all right, well, fine, I can sing it. And after I sung it once and then listened to it a lot, then I get something from making a demo of it from whatever it is I do. And I got to say, I was surprised when it came back. And he went out and he found the guy to put the track down, and we went in the studio and we did it. And yeah, I like it.
Well, I have to say, Roger's one lucky man to get to have a career guiding the likes of Tina Turner. I mean, how do you even tell a legend what to do? But I mean, really, it's all Roger this and Roger that, and Roger thinks I should put some money in a fake vacation house in Guernsey. Roger thinks I should, have a Panamanian bank account. Roger this, Roger Russian oligarchs this. But really, what does Tina have to say, and how much of Tina's career does Tina dictate to Roger?
I'm not a manager, I'm a singer. I needed a manager. Ike and Tina needed a manager. I was aware of the fact that I needed someone to get me to fill those kind of halls. I didn't know how it was done. I just thought no black people had ever filled stadiums like that, and I didn't know why. Do you understand what I mean? I'm speaking of Aretha and Gladys Knight and the Pips and the Temptations. All those people that have had records have been huge and they fill those auditoriums to a point, but not that I know of that any of them had filled stadiums like that. And so when I worked with Olivia Newton-John, this one of the dancers that worked with me, she knew Roger and his partner at the time, Lee Kramer, and she said, those guys are really hip, Tina. She said, you should talk to them. And when I went to talk to them, Roger got my attention more than actually his partner at the time. I just felt he was more the manager for me because he had managed people that needed to work on the road, from Australia with them. So was groups there. And when I had a meeting with him and talked to him about what I wanted, he seemed to have known precisely how to get me there. He was that kind of a businessman that knew the business side of it that takes an artist to get where they need to get. A manager is often taken for a road manager. They're out there, they're with the acts. But there's a business side, there's a record company side. There's the business side of breaking one's career, I feel. And that's what I think Roger, I think that's actually what Lee Kramer said that Roger was, why he took Roger on for Olivia, because Roger had that sense of being a breaker. And you forget what he did for Olivia. That last part of Olivia's career was Roger. I mean, I'm sure it hasn't been known. He is a manager. He's a professional manager. He's a businessman. He doesn't interfere. Well, interferes a little bit because, if you're a good manager, you don't stop at one point. You go there. You don't clean half the table. But that's also, we work good there too. It's a good balance there in terms of the fact that I don't want to work on the business side. I don't want to deal with that frustration and that stress, He works better with it than me. I just want to perform and all of that stuff be taken care of. And that's why Roger is important to me, because he takes care of that kind of business for me and makes those kind of decisions, because most likely singers don't make the same decisions that managers make because we're not business people.
So true, so true. I'll just have to give my old mate Roger a hard time. He can take it. I think he's doing quite well for himself. Anyway, Trevor Horn, quite an astounding producer. He was in the Buggles. He's produced so many legendary artists, and he's actually kind of one of the key producers on this new album, is he not?
I think he also worked with Seal on that song, A Kiss from a Rose on the Grave.
That's true. He actually put Seal on the map. But, tell us a little bit about your collaboration with Trevor, and maybe how you take this song in its kind of rough demo format and how you kind of make it your own with him. What was that process in the studio like with Mr. Horn?
Yes, I have a certain amount of input on the arrangement, the dynamics of it, certain parts that I'd like to insist on keeping for the sweetening of it. All of my albums, I've had a bit of that input with what was played on the demo. Some of that stuff is important to keep. Some of the arrangements is important to keep. And I insist on some of it sometimes. Trevor, however, is a surprise, the little pieces that he has, because they're so subtle, but yet they jump right out at you. And and even surprisingly, he always stick them back in the track so far. And this time I've said, bring that out. I want that, because when I do it on stage, I'm going to bring those out, because he's very subtle with how he does it, And he says, well, I don't usually arrange like, but I'll do it. I'll do it, but that's not how I mix. So this time, that's what we've had going with him, and he's a little hesitant. He says, I want all of us to be happy with this mix and so forth. So it's been a little bit unusual how Roger and I work, because we don't drag our feet. We get right onto it. We do it fast, and Trevor usually takes a bit of time to play with them, So I think it was an experience for him this time as well, in terms of bringing out all of those little things that he's adding, and to do it quick.
Another American artist that she worked with who's really had a sparkling career in the last few years has been the singer-songwriter Sheryl Crow. I heard you kind of took a fancy to her unique brand of singing.
No, I love. I listen. Girls going in south of France, and I heard that song, all the noise of the building and the house, and I thought, another one of those songs that I would love to have. Simple, fun songs, not heavy all the time. And everybody was in love with it. On a feeling. And I even liked how she halfway said the words, I'm not the only one. She just stole your heart, well, how she sung it, how she stood there playing the guitar. So then Roger brought her work that wasn't released, I understand. And yeah, I could hear her, but I didn't think it was her that she made herself known with. I felt she needed that looseness and that fun girl thing, that girly kind of a feeling, And that one was another one that I didn't want to change. I just wanted to sing it like it was because that's all it needed was just a different attitude, a different accent, so to speak. Because she's a girl. She sings like a little girl, and a lot of these songs that she wrote here, it felt like it needed another strength to it,
Speaking of some songs that have a strength or maybe a certain kind of drama or something that's maybe a little more emotionally mature, Brenda Russell, the American songwriter, she contributed a beautiful song, I hear, that you actually worked with the Durham Choir on, that's quite profound, called Dancing in My Dreams. Can you tell us a little bit about that song you worked on with Brenda?
The demo of that one really got me. And I didn't know if she was singing about a love affair or if she was singing about going to heaven, because it was the story is a mixture. And I did actually change it, and she said that I could. But then I thought, well, no, she's the mother of the song, and we should just leave it and just see what the luck of it will be. But the song, it was a spiritual song, actually. It's some kind of way. It seemed to me that it was about one of those relationships, black and white relationships, race-wise. And then it moved into we all going to heaven. Normally I don't like to sing those songs because I'm not a really message singer. I like to giving people more of a good time rather than starting to think about problems. But I decided to do it because it felt good. I can say that more than anything else. Actually, I know Brenda. I was very happy to get a song from her because way back in the Argentina days, she was around the studios and writing songs, and still then.
Well, it's one thing I really have to give you credit for is you're really partnering and you're really employing a lot of female songwriting talent, and that's really quite admirable, whether it's Taylor, who we mentioned, Cheryl, and Brenda, who you just were speaking of, but also Holy Night, who you've worked with, since your first, comeback album with Private Dancer, but then, of course, she was the hit machine behind, songs like The Best. You work with her on a new song. I'm not sure if it's going to make the album, but tell us a little bit about Do Something.
That one is Holly Night, and you never think also how much you say, well, just do something. We use that a lot. And I found that after I listened to the demo, I was using it a lot. And that one was so very hard to make it happen. Because it was another one of those old-fashioned... Speaking of old-fashioned, we're speaking of another time of music where it worked. And today, we must all admit that it takes a special kind of arrangement to get radio to play or to get the people to lock into it. And I liked it like it was, but I must say that it probably would not have gotten the attention that it deserved. It's a hot one. It's another great one that will be good for a performance. It's a performance song as well. It's a very sexy one. Not necessarily that you need to do sexy movements, but the words are almost funny and sexy. But good.
That's great. One song that I'm sure is going to be very sexy is with the baritone, honey-voiced R&B king that is Barry White, and probably a bit of that throwback sound. You want to tell me a little bit about Wildest Dreams, the song you worked on with Barry White?
That's what I thought. When I first heard the demo, I thought, oh, what a hip, I thought a hip song. I thought a very hip song for Barry White as well. It was, oh, baby. But I couldn't get that low in that key, so I'll have to manage that. But anyhow, because I couldn't get that low, then, well, it was arranged. Of course, we'll get to later in the story about what happened with the Spanish voice there. But I want it so much because I don't want to rap, but there's some songs it's good to talk. Well, in the beginning, I did a lot of talking in the early days on songs, so it took me back to that for the people. And that's what I feel this album is. It's giving the people everything from the past, but it's an update version. And so we started on it, and we worked really hard. I like it because it's naughty, it's a groove, and it stimulates people in a different kind of way. I always have them up and da-da-da and bang, bang, and this one is just right down there, And so then we figured it would be great if a male voice was doing the "Oh Babies." I don't know where it came from because the three of us, me, Roger, and Trevor, is in the studio really talking about these songs and what will make them the best they can be. Well, Roger's more in touch than I am because I'm out of touch in Switzerland and out of touch because I particularly like it. So he knew what was happening out there, and he knew about the Spanish man, the Banderas. Yeah. And I know of him, of course, and his work, but I didn't think of him, but he's so big in America, so he's very strong in Roger and Trevor's mind. But again, can you get those people? You know how it is. They're so big, the stars these days. They get big real quick. So I was hesitant to think whether he would or not. And I understood that he thought, oh, fine. Well, he's not a singer. He realized that it was just, some ad-libbing. And also I hear that he's a very nice person because I thought after, oh, God, I hope this guy is not one of those really good, hey, baby, I did the song with you. Come over here and give me a kiss. I thought I'd have to deal with that. And he wasn't. I hear that he's really very nice. And actually, I envision now, whenever we're touring and working, for him to come on stage, and I think kids would probably have a fit because, he's a sex symbol. I think he's a sex symbol. And actually sing the part. I think that would be a nice surprise for the audience.
Oh, but they'd love that. Seeing the two of you sex symbols up there, and I also love how you pretend that you don't remember who Antonio Banderas is because you're such a big star with the people, as you call them. But just a few more questions that I have, and then I think we're going to continue our conversation tomorrow on the show. But any special songs to you that stand out, or that you really are proud of on this new album? That there's a song called Something Special, is it? Something Special?
That one, aside from the fact that it could be a really good theme for Something Special, it's so nice. He's using the same words he's using almost one sentence all the way through the song. It's so unusual because I've never heard a song where you would say, something special about you, something so very special about you. There's something special about a kiss. There's something so very special about a kiss. Do you understand what I mean? How you can make lyrics, just 2 or 3 words, become a whole song. But it's the melody and how it's sung. And that was one Roger nor Trevor liked, and I had to push for that one because I said, aside from the fact that it's a wonderful song to me, I think it would be a great song for commercials, and it's something very special. And you don't know how much you use those until you really hear a song, and you say, oh, that's very special. Something so very special about it, We use it often.
It's true. I often say things are special. I tell Pam, my wife, that she's special. I think you're very special, Tina. I think all your people agree that you're very special. So one thing that I know you're starting to think about what the lead single is going to be, and I heard you're working with Kylie Minogue's boyfriend on a really, really hot video for, at least in these aisles, your first single. It's going to be called Whatever You Want. And I heard you're already kind of thinking about how you're gonna stage that on your new tour.
That quietness that really lets you know that this person really will do anything. It's just be there somehow, and just very, very final. And actually, when I started the rehearsals and with the choreographers and all, at the finish of the song, I just turned and walked away. It's like said. And the music, and that's how I'll do it. The music just says it.
Oh, I bet it does. You have a great sense of how to bring those songs to life on your tours. Well, Tomorrow we'll talk more about your big upcoming tour. We're going to talk about your new album. I think actually we covered that a lot today. So I really want to talk about what does it mean to Tina Turner to be, in Europe, to be such a star. Where do you see your career going? Are you going to be seen in any more movies? We know we saw you in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome with one of my favorite Australian actors, Mel. Are we going to see you on the silver screen again anytime soon? So I really look forward to talking with you tomorrow, Tina, about some other topics. As I wrap up this part of our interview where we're really focused on your new album, tentatively titled Wildest Dreams. I know we can't really hear any of those songs right now, but I just was curious kind of maybe what one of your favorite songs is, and maybe if you could sing a little bit of it for us.
This one is the only one that I can sing to you right now. I don't know why it's stuck in my head. It's something like the music starts, and then it says, oh, my attitude has always been, you can have me for tonight, but not for tomorrow. Oh, it's gonna cost you plenty, yeah, more than you can afford. And more than you can borrow. Oh, and I can make them fall in love just as easy as I can pick their pockets, yeah. And when I've done my deed, I get on a freight train and make my getaway. I'm a thief of hearts. And racket, racket, racket. Isn't it great? I love it so much. And when I heard the demo, I thought, what a great song. It's so wonderful to play with the audience with it, and all the sneaking and the private and it's wonderful. That was so much fun. I look forward to singing that one. Well, I said I look forward to singing them all. This one is a little bit more fun because it's got so much energy in it, and the music is You like it?
Oh my. Well, on that note, I'm sorry I asked, but we'll be back with you tomorrow, and I'm going to wrap up my conversation with the legendary Tina Turner.
And this has been a special Radio Channel Orleans interview with the stars.
God, that was exhausting. Are we done?